All right, welcome to the Best Fleets, the final Best Fleets podcast of the 2025 season. And this month, we are going to have a visit with Prime Inc. Prime has been a Best Fleet for 10 consecutive years with an overall Large Fleet Winner Award in 2019. And they are one of the original Best Fleets inducted into the Hall of Fame. So I'd like to welcome Jim Guthrie and Mitch Coiner to the podcast with me. Jim Guthrie is the Director of Operations at Prime. He's been there since 1999. So I guess you had your 25th anniversary last year?
Actually, yeah, 26th actually this year and 25th, yeah, 25th last year. So,
Holy moly.
yeah,
So so it must be a good place to work.
absolutely. Yeah, we have a lot of long tenured people, and that's part of what I think makes our culture successful. So, I appreciate you having us on, Jane.
Oh, thank you. No, I can't believe I haven't had you on before because you guys are always so good to us. Mitch Coiner, the recruiting marketing manager at Prime, and you're relatively new. You joined in 2020, and that's always a fun year to start a new job, middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. Shortly before that, I get to be a part of the watching people carry their keyboards and monitors out of the office and head home for a little while. So definitely a unique experience there.
Were you one of them? Did you stay in the office or were you going home?
I went home. Yeah.
I guess not. Well, right at the beginning, that's it was like everybody was everywhere. Um, so I wanted to go back to Jim. So you've been at Prime since, the last millennium. And I just wanted you to talk a little bit about your history with the company because you've kind of done every job, I think,
Yeah,
except Robert Lowe's.
well, sometimes it seems as such, and I'm glad you pointed out the last millennium, and it makes me feel how old I really am.
We are
But
mature. We
and
are wise.
very good, very good. And I will say I did have quite a bit of hair when I first started, so as you can see that has eroded over time. But yeah, I started in night dispatch. Really, actually, I started at Prime in 2005 while I was in school, and I worked winter breaks and summer breaks on the field desk, and then in night dispatch. And really, the people really it comes down to the people, but just the drivers and the people and the trucking industry got into my blood, and then whenever I finished school, I kind of kept in contact with folks from Prime, and came straight here after I graduated, and then I've been here everywhere. I've been here every day since, and yeah, I started in night dispatch, and then I became a fleet manager after a little bit of time, and I did that for several years, and then I became a regional sales manager and managed a sales region for another several more years. And then in 2015-ish, we had a change in our personnel and recruiting, and I got involved in that just really for a few years on a temporary basis, and then ultimately moved into the role of director of operations. So I've seen a lot, been through a lot, but at the end of the day, the people is what makes this our company and really our industry so wonderful, is all the different people you get to work with, and you make a difference in the lives of all of our drivers for first and foremost. But we haul a lot of food and pharmaceuticals across the country, and without what we do, the economy stops pretty quickly. So there's a little bit of pride and satisfaction in knowing that this is such a necessary industry, and really important to the backbone of everything we do across North America and all of our economies, really. So
So, well, that's actually you kind of lead into, and this is something that both of you can come into is kind of the history of Prime, of how it came to be. And I know about three things in general, and I did not know this before, but this is all very public knowledge, so I'm not telling tales out of school. but that Robert Lowe started the company with one truck, as you do when you start a trucking company in 1970. So before all of us were born, right? And that was a joke, so you can all laugh now. All right, there you go. There, that's better.
It's actually
Uh,
before I was born. That's it's true.
I was four. So, but anyway, he had a great 10 years, and then basically the economy caught up with him, and then he had to declare bankruptcy then. And then part of the recovery from, so you can see there's a YouTube video on this, and I've seen a couple of stories about it. But part of the recovery was developing an owner operator program, which I think has really kind of shaped what Prime has become. Because can you guys talk a little bit about, or I don't know, you can give me some more sort of details if you want, but
No, absolutely. It's a great story. We just completed a 5-year strategic plan and spent some time talking back about the history. I think what Robert would say is that those days are what has shaped us into what we are today, and the lessons, that he learned, and we've been able to glean from him over the last 55 years. So, yeah, the interest rates got exceedingly high in the late 70s and early 80s, and then deregulation, all those things combined really, created some dynamics that changed the landscape for this industry. And so, yeah, we, at that time filed bankruptcy and worked really through it very, week to week, day to day, and was able to prevail out of that. And then at that point formed this business model that is largely owner operator independent contractor model, which has been really outstanding for us since that time, and we've seen that area grow and become prevalent into what we are today. And so I think that model has enabled a tremendous amount of entrepreneurship with our driver base and has created opportunities for drivers and small business, minded people to start here with one truck, just as he did. And we've got success stories of owners that have started with one truck, or maybe even started as an employee driver, and then started as a lease operator, and then eventually an owner operator, and then eventually a small fleet owner, and have developed into fleets from 1 to 350 plus that are still here today. So yeah, that entrepreneurship, ownership, and the just having that business model, I think the benefits of such have been really what's built us into where we are.
so your head office is based in Springfield, Missouri. And I've been there, and it's quite the it's it's crazy big, and it's crazy how much the drivers are really kind of considered in all aspects of that entire office building. I really loved it. You had the daycare in there, and then you have the all the different lounge areas where drivers can be. Like, how many drivers, Mitch, can you give me kind of a sense of how many drivers and contractors are currently working at Prime now, and all of the different, where you're, you know, what states you're operating in and that kind of thing?
Sure. Yeah, we have roughly 10,000 drivers, kind of fluctuate between the 9,500 and 10,000 driver mark. Like you said, we're based here in Springfield, Missouri, but we have locations in 16 different spots across the country, and planning to expand in the near future into some other areas. But we operate all over the lower 48 states, as well into Canada and Mexico.
Yeah, nice. So there's a lot of opportunity if you are, somebody looking to be a contractor or already an owner, a contractor. So one of the things that I think, and I don't really want to talk too much about this, but one of the reasons I think for your success is that you're not just providing, you're not just saying, oh, we're going to hire owner operators or contractors, is that you also have a comprehensive education program. And that kind of starts from day one, right? Like, is that starting in orientation, Mitch?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually looked at this number today to see over the past couple of years, about 60 to 65% of our hires are what we call PSDs. So those are folks that come in with no CDL. They're able to come through our orientation process, move from that into the first phase of training, which we call the PSD phase. So basically 2 to 4 weeks of CDL instruction to make sure they have the skills and knowledge they need to be able to pass the CDL exam. And then after they do that, they would move into what we call T&T training with an over-the-road operator at Prime that helps them gain, the additional skills. And that would be really where they're diving into what being an independent contractor and being a successful independent contractor looks like. We have folks that choose to go the company side, but I really think that earnings potential that Jim mentioned on the independent contractor side really leads a lot of people towards that, and rightly so. But yeah, the majority of people that we hire have never seen the inside of a truck, and we're able to train them from that to being a successful business owner. And like Jim mentioned, getting up to owning 10, 12 plus trucks on their own and running their own small business here under Prime's authority.
So have you seen a difference? And maybe I'm gonna ask Jim this because I think 2020 and up, it's kind of everybody saw it was a little bit nuts. But before 2020, in the past 10 years before that, did you have more people coming like where with no experience in trucking at all, or was it more of people who had been driving for a while and wanted to own their own truck? Like, has it really shifted?
Well, I would say we started our training program in the early 2000s. At that point, the mix was, probably 80% plus experienced drivers and 20% plus new drivers to get their CDL. And over the last 20 plus years, that has gradually changed, done a complete, 180. And so today, well over 80% of what we recruit are those that have never seen the inside of a truck, as Mitch mentioned. And we recruit very few experienced drivers. And in fact, I would say the majority of the experienced drivers that come to Prime are rehires that have left for one reason or another and are coming back. In fact, most over 50% of every experienced driver, a CDL holder that we bring in through our recruiting today is a rehire.
Wow, that's
So yeah,
so
yeah.
it's been
So
a
that
big,
dynamic has
big,
changed.
big flip. Well,
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about why you're a best fleet. And I'm gonna tell you what some of the things that I think why you're a best fleet. You have your own opinions, but it's my podcast, so I'm gonna tell you. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the celebrations that you have, and you have some of the most massive celebrations, and you have more celebrations than I think any company that we've ever talked to. And they're so, I don't know if unique is the word, but they were definitely pioneering for sure. So the latest one is the Veterans Ball, correct? This is Mitch, can you tell me about what that is?
Sure. Yeah, you're right. That is our, as of right now, that's our newest event that we've created. Really what it is we tried to replicate as much as we could a military ball of a United States military uh, person who would go to a ball there. What we do is we host it in Springfield, Missouri, and we bring them in. We'll have dinner this year. Or last year, we had the Missouri State University ROTC program come in and present the colors. We try to just do it up big and make it as similar to a military ball as we can. And the reason for that is about 30% of our fleet are veterans, and that includes Robert and Steve Wucky, who's our VP of Sales and Marketing. Both of them were Marines and served, so it's definitely something that they're passionate about, and which leads Robert to be, willing and excited to invest in that type of an event. So we had about 300 people there in attendance, and expect it to continue to grow as the years go on, and we do a better job of getting the word out. But we're excited for it again this year.
And I know that, along that line, your Prime is very involved in Wreaths Across America as well. How many trucks are you, like, how many trucks are going into Arlington from Prime, or do you even have those numbers? Because
Yeah, yeah, we do one Arlington load a year, but we overall donate 10 trucks to deliver wreath loads all across the country.
yeah,
So
because they're all kind of doing runs, but not necessarily going all the way to Arlington.
right, yep.
Right. So yeah, I knew that. Like there's a lot of, and I mean, Jim and I back in the day did a whole presentation on just how trucking companies can be involved in charitable or charities and charitable giving and that kind of thing because um, that's what a lot of trucking companies do. And it's really good to highlight that because a lot of younger people are interested in making sure that they're working for a company that is giving back. And Prime definitely does give back. So I think it's a cool addition to the celebrations that you already do. And I'm going to go, and I'm going out of order here. So I want to go back to some of the other celebrations. And one of the first ones that I talked to Prime about was Highway Diamonds. And so Highway Diamonds, I'm going to get you to talk about it, but there's, and I almost, and I don't know if you think of it like this, but I kind of think of it like this. But you have the Highway Diamonds program, which is for women drivers. But you also have the Good Dads program, which is I find it's like a compliment to it's like, I don't know if you thought of it that way, but I always think of it that way. And I always thought that the Good Dads program was a really unique program that I thought was amazing to offer to drivers. So you can talk about either, like if you want to talk about Good Dads first, because it's a smaller program than Highway Diamonds, but it's also kind of a celebration.
Sure. Yeah. So Prime Good Dads is basically our partnership with an organization that's based here in Springfield. That's just the parent organization named Good Dads. And it's funny that you mentioned it's a nice compliment to our Highway Diamonds program because it really is. At the same time, we try to do our best that our messaging shows that it's not just for dads or men, or it's really for, it can be for a dad, it can be for a mom, it can be for families together. But the whole purpose of it is to really provide resources for our drivers that are over the road, away from home, could be, 3, 4+ weeks at a time, to really communicate with their kids or their families, and also provide mental health resources because it can be a lonely role. It can be a lonely career choice. There's no doubt about that. And so it helps to have this offering, and that kind of ties into some of our counseling services that we have available to our Prime drivers. That actually is now in the driver health and fitness side of things. But Robert's made the commitment to pay for the first visit of our driver's counseling service, which kind of ties into that Good Dads too. All just about communications and connection for drivers that live a unique lifestyle.
Yeah, because I know there is an umbrella organization, the Good Dad, but you have your own specific Prime Good Dads, and I think the Good Dads program is just dads in general. But yes, trucking has a very specific issue, challenge, I
Yeah.
think when it comes to the job and how much time you can spend with your kids. So I really liked it. I loved it when I heard when the first time I heard about it. I was like, oh, that's awesome. But I also loved Highway Diamonds and that was Highway Diamonds started in 2015. So it's been going it's like one of the OG women's support in trucking. Like now there's like 50 million women's groups. You can find a trucking women's group everywhere. But Highway Diamonds was the first one, and it was the first one for drivers that I ever heard about. So you were around when it started, Jim. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we had really internally kind of evaluated the whole dynamic with women in the trucking industry. And at that time, I think the industry average was maybe 5 or 6% of drivers were female drivers. And so internally we kind of uh you know debated amongst ourselves why, first of all, why, and secondly, what can we do to change that, at least for Prime, because we view it as a great opportunity to expand and diversify our driver base. So we came up with the Highway Diamonds program that really is designed to support and help provide different support for female drivers entering and working within this industry. And so we got some feedback from a lot of different drivers, female drivers that were currently in our fleet, and different ideas as to what we could do to help. And so we've grown that, and I think we're up to about 15% of our fleet
Oh,
is female drivers, and we'd like for it to be 20% or 25% and keep expanding it. And so, what we do is we just support, use this program as part of a support program, but also as a program to help facilitate and help celebrate our female drivers that are with us. And so we have an annual gala every year, which is been become a very popular event. And in addition to that, throughout the year, we have, a variety of different services available. Whenever it comes to being a mom that is out on the road, there's a lot of, it's a lot different to be a dad out on the road versus a mom out on the road, and also, security, safety for female drivers is always a concern at truck stops and other areas. And so there's some unique challenges within this industry to make life better for female drivers and make it more accommodating. And that's what we try to do from the top of our culture to the bottom of our culture, is have everybody in our company and organization recognize, uh, different steps we can take to help make life better for more female drivers. And so that's where that whole Highway Diamonds program was born and what it's developed into today. And we take a lot of pride in the continuation of that program as well.
you had for how when you started, well, the Highway Diamonds program, it starts as soon as a female driver is hired, correct? Like it's part of orientation, isn't it?
Yeah, we go through the program in orientation for female drivers, and if you're a female driver at Prime, you're part of our Highway Diamonds program. You can choose how involved you want to be. We have different social media pages and different, we have like for all of our new drivers that come in, we have what we call a female driver liaison that is available 24/7, 365 to help if through the training process, if there are any issues that need to be addressed. They have a direct hotline that can, help make that process easy. So yeah, once you start here, you're in that program if you would like to be.
That's what I think is really cool. It's not well, it is voluntary, like you don't have to be in it, but um, it's a really nice way to highlight what women are doing and highlight the fact that women are helping each other with this. This is like a peer group. But also you have a Highway Diamond of the Year, which I think is really cool. And that's something that was really unique at the time. Like people were not, that was, I had never heard of anything. This is why I loved it so much, is because people were talking about women in the industry, but it wasn't a positive thing. It was more about like, why can't we find women? There are no women. But what you did is you put together this kind of a positive group and made it a celebration. And I think that's what Prime does so well is you know how to celebrate. You absolutely know how to celebrate. And so the Highway Diamond of the Year, I think that was like, really elevating that whole group. It's not just a women support group. It's a women and excellence group and supporting each other to become excellent. So, and the other thing that I wanted to mention was that who, some of the women from Prime have really gone on to shine. And, in America's Road Team captains and like, can you talk a little bit about how that happened and how you supported them moving into different roles in the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to point that out too, and I'm glad you did, Jane. The uh, purpose of those awards is just to recognize those ladies who have helped facilitate more, interest and work together with other, people at Prime, other female drivers to train more female drivers. We always need more female trainers, and also advance our causes within the industry. And part of that is through different organizations, such as one is the America's Road Team for the ATA. We've had two Highway Diamonds for sure that I can think of that have been America's Road Team members. We've had one of our Highway Diamonds was the TCA Driver of the Year.
I remember that.
So yeah, yeah. So we've had that involvement in the industry is important to all of our organization, and not only like on the America's Road Team, for example, that has also led into advocating for independent contractors or advocating for trucking, specific legislation or regulation that has helped, further the industry. And so we've had we've had at least a few ladies that have participated in different Call on Washington events, different congressional testimonies, and also in the ATA Road Team, which also helps facilitate those events to help lobby and advocate for betterment of the industry as well. And so we like to participate and stay active in all of those. In those organizations, and that helps everybody in the industry.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure you've had male road team captains as
We've
well.
had, yeah, we've had both. We've had male road team captains, we've had female. It's just I think the last, Mitch can correct me, but I think our last two or three have all been female, and they've been great ambassadors for Prime and for our industry.
Yeah, I think I love the whole, trying to promote the industry outside of trucking and I think what you do and how you've done it is really, elevated. Um, really been able to do that. I think you've really been able to accomplish that. Um, so those are kind of the programs that I wanted to talk about, but I wanted to also talk about um, how you interact with drivers because you have, like you said, Mitch, you have like 10,000 drivers, independent contractors and owner operators and company drivers. So how do you actually keep in touch with them? Like how, like a lot of people think, oh, it's a big fleet. I'm going to be forgotten. I don't think that prime drivers think that. And how do you make sure that they're not?
Yeah, we certainly hope they don't feel that way. Even though we are a big fleet, we use a ton of different communication tools to stay in touch with our drivers. One of those is the Prime mobile app that we have. Our IT department has developed an app that allows us to send messages as well as news items. So for events that are coming up, for hey, I'd like to see at the terminal for, or your truck needs this done on it. Any type of communication can be done through the Prime mobile app, as well as our geotab units that are now in all of our trucks. But the number one resource that we encourage our drivers to use at Prime is their fleet manager. And Jim can talk more about that. He's over the fleet managers. So, but that's, really their number one key contact. And you'll never hear a fleet manager here say, I don't know, or, can't help you with that. They will always be able to point you in the right direction to somebody who can help. And that's what they've been trained, and they're paid well to do that. So, Jim, you want to speak more to that?
Well, yeah, I think you covered a lot of it. We feel like the fleet manager relationship with your driver is the most critical aspect for success, or one of the most critical aspects for success in the industry. And our fleet managers are completely tied to the performance and the success of their drivers and their fleets, which creates that really good alignment. So they have skin in the game, and they have a vested interest in the financial success of each of their operators, and that's what leads to their financial success. So you're never a number. You're always a person and a name, and your fleet manager is always going to know their drivers personally. In our facilities, and you kind of referenced it earlier, but we don't segregate areas that are only available to drivers or in-house associates. We don't have any kind of walls like that. We've got really about two offices in our entire building, and one is for our owner and CEO, and his door is open usually, or certainly it can be open and he's got an open door policy, but the other one's for our internal legal department. So other than that, everybody in our operation is out in the open. There's no big borders or barriers. We feel like our drivers can approach us at any time, and they can always access their fleet manager, access our various departments, support departments, safety departments, all those areas. It's all wide open, and we feel like that is the way to develop the right culture to put drivers first. And we supply just incredible amenities for all of our drivers, be it 24/7 food service at all of our terminal facilities, showers available, bunk rooms available, driver services, dry cleaning, theater rooms, doctor's offices are available. We have a spa and salon, various services, chiropractor services, all that embedded within our terminal, so that all those things can be done at a very convenient level for our drivers and keep them on the road. And whenever they need any of those services, try to make it very efficient so they can get it done and get right back on the road. So that all goes into it as well, between all of the different modes of communication, the relationships, and the amenities that we provide. We try to cover every base for our drivers.
One of the things that you talked about with amenities, I think, and it's one of the programs that I wanted to highlight. And this was also pretty much a first, is your driver health and fitness. I believe it. Yeah, health and fitness. I
Yes,
want to say health and wellness, but it was health and fitness. And that was started back in, I don't know, 2013,
that sounds about right. I can't remember the year. There's one year that our
2012,
owner.
actually.
Okay, so our own, I believe. Our owner was the chairman of the TCA for maybe in 2011, right around that time. And one of the big focuses, and his focus has been a focus of his for quite some time, is the disparity in the average age, age expectation for drivers versus the general population. And he said, that's not right, and we're going to find a way to fix it and do our part. And that really is what was originated our driver health and fitness program. And so we had started with a former driver. We started a program for our driver health and fitness with a former driver of ours who was also an Olympic and collegiate athlete, and had chosen the pathway of coming to get his CDL, and operated with Prime for a period of time, and recognized that there is a need for specific driver-based health and fitness programs that would help keep folks healthy that are living this lifestyle out on the road. And so he started the process of developing some nutritional programs and fitness programs. And from there, we've expanded over the last several years. And I think we're up to 6 people that are dedicated solely to driver health and fitness for our driver base. And we have a nutritionist, we have a kinesiologist type of
Yeah.
person, various people that can help tailor programs and help work with all of our driver base whenever they have questions, needs to develop fitness plans and nutrition plans that are accommodating to the kind of lifestyle that they lead out on the road. So we believe in it very strongly. We push it, promote it, and have those services available for any of our driver base who wish to utilize those services.
And up to and including the fact that you have a basketball court that where Robert Lowe is frequently to be found,
That
playing
this is
with.
true. This is true. We actually have 2 full-size basketball courts now. One at our terminal here in Springfield, one at our terminal in Salt Lake City. We've got fitness centers at all of our main terminals, and we're on the horizon. We've got some expansion plans in not only do we have some big expansion plans in the southeast, but we've also got some expansion plans here at our terminal in Springfield to add more of those amenities for health and fitness. So we're pretty excited about that. It's still maybe a couple of years out, but thinking to the future about some of those as well.
So there's no cost or anything for drivers to access any of these services?
No cost whatsoever.
Nice. Very nice. And it's kind of nice that you have like that the health and wellness or the health and fitness focus was started, so long ago. For a lot of companies, it kind of goes away, and they'll kind of go, well, if someone wants to do a walking challenge, then we'll do it, or, people don't want to participate anymore. But instead, like you've expanded. So it seems like it's really successful.
Yeah, we really believe that. I mean, we believe in investing in programs and amenities and help and support for our drivers. And we don't just, I mean, everybody, says they love their drivers and appreciate their drivers, but not everybody puts their money into those
Yeah.
same words. So it's kind of like actions speak more. And it costs money. All these things cost a lot of money, but we believe that it makes us a better company over time. And I think our drivers are appreciate it. Our retention rates and turnover rates for an over-the-road carrier are less than half of the industry, and we feel like all these different things we do are what contributes to that, because this is a tough business. And so anything we can do to help our drivers and make it better for our drivers is something that we're certainly focused on.
And I guess what I wanted to touch on in along that line is how you get feedback. And one of the things, and as this podcast airs, the Best Fleets is happening. So at this point, in November, the interviews are on, the driver surveys, people have access to the driver surveys and they can send them out to their drivers. So how do you've been a Best Fleet for 10 years, so this is kind of old hat to you. And there's obviously processes that you've put into place to just kind of, you can manage best fleets a lot easier than in the first year. How do you prepare for it? So, your interview's coming up. What happens? Who does the interview and how do you decide that? Mitch, should I ask you?
Sure. Yeah, so we go through the questionnaire process, and it's kind of I'm doing a lot of the typing on that, but it's really a group effort as far as
You
getting all
get the
the information.
typing.
Yeah, because it's a unique questionnaire that it hits so many different sides and departments of our company and other companies that there has to be a lot of involvement and buy-in from leaders of every department, really, which is one of the pros, I think, of the Best Fleets to Drive For program is it encourages those conversations to be able to perform well on the questionnaire and also figure out how we can perform better next year if we're missing certain things that the questionnaire leads us to. But as far as the interview process goes, it's typically Jim and I, and then we have Travis Bacon, who's our director of recruiting, and then Clayton Brown, who also works in the marketing department. And we, I wish I could say we prep a ton. I think at this point we typically have a short conversation beforehand, and we give everybody the opportunity to go through the questionnaire and see what potential questions might be coming. But it's really a pretty seamless process at this point where we just have a good conversation with either you or somebody from your team on different things that are new in the current year.
So what would you, if you had like, the best advice to give someone who was doing it for the first time, doing the interview, and um, what would you tell them? Like just don't do this, or just make sure you do this.
Well, I'd say bring the questionnaire with you so that you can
Yeah.
flip through and look through some of that. That'd be my best advice. No, I think I don't know that I have great advice other than just yeah, buy into the process of the questions that you're being asked, and it's okay if you don't have a great answer for every question, because I think part of the importance of the process is getting you and your leadership team thinking on improvements that you can make in the future to if you're a best fleet to watch this year, maybe you're in the top 20 or you're a overall winner the next year.
Which kind of what happened to you guys. That was the kind of the progression. But I couldn't have said it better myself. This is why you're the marketing guy, and I am not. I'm the educator. So do you have anything to add to that, Jim?
Well, I think, and Mitch kind of said it well. One thing that I would tell everybody to do, as it relates to best fleets is use the process to make yourself better and evaluate what you're doing. We spend a lot of time throughout the process, both before and after. We'll sit down with our leadership team and look through, the not only the rankings but the questions and the where can we improve upon these areas. And so whenever we're able to spend that time with our leadership group, it makes a difference, and I think it makes us better, better as a company.
Yeah, nice. So the last thing that I wanted to kind of touch on, and let's spend a few minutes on this, is all of your driver advisory groups and the driver meetings and the importance of those. Because one of the things I think that when we were there, and I don't normally go and visit the best fleets, but we were in Kansas yeah, I think we were in Kansas City, and you invited us to come and see the terminal, and we're like, yeah. And there was a driver meeting, one of the weekly driver meetings that you have, and they're live. And it was quite cool because there was a lot of people. And I think at the time you were doing it over Facebook. Are you still doing it using Facebook Live?
We do. We every Friday morning at 8 a.m. Central Time, we're on Facebook, YouTube, and now LinkedIn as well.
Oh, nice. Oh
So
my
yeah,
gosh.
We host that meeting. You said I was a good marketing guy a second ago. That was a fail on the communications front. On every Friday morning, that's a great way that we communicate with our drivers. And uh, we take an hour and have a meeting that's hosted by our safety department. We host it here in Springfield, Missouri, Salt Lake City, Utah, and Pittston, Pennsylvania, at our three major terminals. But safety department hosts it, and then we have different speakers from operations and really a lot of different departments here at Prime. But it's open mic, so any drivers that are through those terminals at the time can ask questions. They can get on the microphone and ask it, which is a pretty bold move on our part because it's live streamed on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. But we're
Always fun.
transparent and try to keep it that way as much as possible. So we also accept questions through social media and try to get to as many as we can in that hour.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's a good communication tool for us for sure.
And I think you've been doing that for years. I can't remember, like, I mean, this has been ongoing, but the other thing that you do that I think is really important is the driver advisory board, but also the driver development advisory council. So it's not just the driver advisory board, but you also have a one that's separate for training, right, Jim?
That's correct. So, I will say the driver advisory board was born out of our best fleets process. It was an area that we realized we definitely have to improve upon, and so I think we're about 10 years in, maybe 8 or 10 years to the driver advisory board, and uh, the driver development advisory council was born out of our driver advisory board as one of the key takeaways earlier on into those meetings. So yeah, we feel strongly about the driver advisory board and all of these different driver. Having our drivers sit down with our leadership team is invaluable. I mean, you can't. It's just an indispensable tool
Mm.
to get feedback and improve. And there's really good discussions and really good things that come out of all of those different meetings.
And I know that I've seen pictures of them, and it's a pretty large group. Like this is not, five drivers that you have there. There
We,
it's like you all have mics.
we do. It is a very large group. I think we're over 35 drivers on our driver advisory board, and that doesn't include the probably 35 or 40 or so leadership team members that participate. So we've run out of space a couple times into a pretty large convention center, and it keeps growing. So, which is a great thing. So yeah, we really focus on getting drivers from a wide range of diversity drivers, whether it be males and females, flatbed division, tanker, refrigerated division, and whether it be drivers that have been in the industry for 25 or 30 years or 25 or 30 months. We've got everything in between. And, we've got everything from a million mile driver or really 4 million mile, 3 or 4 million mile drivers to, folks that have been just driving for a short period of time, and like I said, everything in between. So we try to get a wide range of opinions and a wide range of feedback so that we can act upon it and make things better.
Yeah, that's nice. It's when you were talking about the people who have driven this many million miles, I forgot to mention that you have the Night of the Millionaires, and I think that's really cool, which is basically milers. And I don't know like how many millions you have to have. I guess you start at the one and then you just keep celebrating them.
It's that dinner celebration has grown enough that it's now two separate dinners
Oh,
in Springfield, Missouri, Salt Lake City, Utah, and Pittston, Pennsylvania. So we have a 1 million mile dinner, and then now we have enough 2+ million mile drivers that it has to be a separate dinner, which is a great problem to have.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's shucks. It's terrible. You have to have you have that many million miles. That's crazy. That's awesome. Well, I will leave it there, but I'd like to give you guys the last word. So maybe, kind of, let people know why they should be part of the program and what it's done for you. I know you've kind of mentioned it, but just to wrap things up, um, guys anybody want to go?
Sure, I can. Again, I think as I mentioned, it's definitely made us better. We've really embraced and used the feedback and the questions and the surveys and the all the information and the data that we glean and can gain from this process to find ways to make things better. So, it's just another tool, and it does take some time, but it's very valuable to anyone who really wants to improve their culture. And so we believe strongly in participating in all of these programs in the industry to use as tools that can help make us better and make the industry better. So I mean, I think that those who are trying to make a better life and a better work-life balance and a better situation for their drivers are good for everybody in the industry, not just for prime and prime drivers, but for everybody in the industry. So we applaud those who do participate and take it seriously and put the effort forth to make genuine changes and make the industry better.
Thank you. All right. Anything to add, Mitch?
I don't know if I can follow that up, Jane. I think he nailed it. Yep.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, I'd like to thank both of you, Jim Guthrie and Mitch Coiner, for joining me today. This on our last 2025 Best Fleets to Drive For podcast. Thanks very much. Like and subscribe. If I point down, that might make a difference. I've been told that I should. So thank you all, and good luck with the process. I hope to see you on the top 20 again next year.
Thank you, Jane. We
Thanks,
appreciate all
Jane.
your efforts.